almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
And we are back. Did you guys miss me? You guys didn't think I was going to leave you for that long, did you? I want to say I really do appreciate, though, all the people that did hit me up and were concerned and simply wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be gone forever. I wasn't shutting the show down. And you guys should know me by now. Those of you that have been watching me long enough should know me by now to know that I'm, especially in these times, okay? We need every voice out here that we can get speaking about the things that are going on, okay? More than ever. So we don't need less people, fighting for the truth. We need more, if anything. But before I start this episode, I want to go ahead and send a huge and thankful shout out to our sponsors that have always continued to stick by us over at Magic Mind. If you guys don't know what Magic Mind is, for the people that are new to the show, Magic Mind is a very, very good wellness shot that me personally, I put in place of, I used to love drinking energy drinks. I put it in place of my energy drink. It'll give you a mental clarity, focus, better sleep. It's just all around a great wellness shot to take on a daily basis. Definitely check them out, but be sure to, if you check them out, if you give them a try, use our link. It's magicmind.com/eyesopen20. So the link's on screen, magicmind.com/eyesopen20, and you'll get some special promos. And then also, they're running a couple different deals right now. You guys definitely need to check them out. Now is the best time to check them out. And they have the newer shot is the one I take. It's actually, for anybody that takes wellness shots, it actually tastes really good. A lot of these wellness shots taste pretty icky, but Magic Mind is not known for that. They actually taste pretty good. So definitely want to send a big shout out to them. I'll also drop the link in the comments, so you can also click on the link in the comments to check them out. So let's get going. Now today, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a, welcome back show, go over a few things, but there's a premise to the show, as you could tell by the title, that I wanted to talk about, that I think needs to be talked about, with certain events that are going on in the world and certain things that have been going on my page as well. Now, what's been happening is kind of, I gotta find a point of where I want to jump this off. And by the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the Kevin Annett interview that we did. He's a very good truth seeker. He's done some great work in the areas of exposing the corruption and different aspects, especially in his field and ministry and whatnot, of what's been going on. But I want to really thank him for coming on to the show. It was a pleasure to interview him. So I want to again thank him for coming on to the show. And I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. But yeah, I figured the best way to do this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a 2-part comeback series or episodes. And then I'm going to do some new reels that'll be released today and tomorrow. So I wanted to do that for you guys as a special. When I came back, I wanted to come back with a bang. But what's been going on with Facebook that a lot of you guys don't see unless you run these, a page that's over 100,000 followers, they're really coming at your boy. And usually they tell you not to talk about this in a sense, because if the old, ALGO picks you up and hears about this, they could potentially do even more damage to you. But what's been happening is, especially about what I'm about to talk about, okay? So based on the way I title my videos, based on what I've been talking about, based on multiple factors, they've been technically shadow banning me on purpose, okay? And I'm gonna be very careful how I word a lot of this because I want this message to get out. They've been sending bots after me to say all types of derogatory stuff in comments. Lots of stuff's been happening, but I will always stay one step ahead of them. So for the people that come out there saying, derogatory stuff, this is just a warning to everybody to let them know. if people are going to, argue with other people and say, you guys can disagree, but if people are going to, send derogatory stuff to me or anybody else, or use profanity or do things like that, or just, be that type of person, I'll give you a chance. Your stuff's just going to get deleted. But if you continue to do it, you're just going to be booted from the page. So I'm going to give people the chance to stay on the page. But a lot of these I'm figuring out are not people. They're bots. Okay. They're bots doing this intentionally, because from what I found out is they're trying to trigger me into an argument with them. So that way it'll mess up the ALGO and keep me down. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. That's why I just hit 178 when I was blasting like every day. Followers were taken off, and that started to slow down. And it's due to me being pushed back down that A word, the ALGO, because I know if I'm being very careful not to say that word or it might pick it up. It's been pushing me down that to keep my content on the back burner so more people aren't seeing it. And I found a way to make sure we get pushed back up that, because the community needs to build stronger, bigger, so the truth can get out there. Because that's ultimately why I did the show. And people need to realize that. That's why I stepped away, because I'm like, with my dad passing, all the stuff I had going on, I'm like, why am I even doing this? I don't have to do this show. I can enjoy being retired. I could sit back and do nothing. And maybe that's what I should do, and just say, screw it and do nothing. But it gave me time to reflect on the message and on what's really going on in the world and with the show. I'm like, what? I'm here for God, ain't I? I'm here to preach Jesus Christ to people. That's the big thing. So I can't let the devil win in that sense. Not only we're not going to let him win, we're going to show him that with Christ fighting for us and with us, he won't win. Not only will he not win, he's already been defeated. He's going to lose miserably. And I'm back now, sharper than ever. Like I'd said, I made that post. I'm dialed in. I feel ready to go. I feel stronger than even before. I haven't felt this good and this ready to go since, I first started the show and it started to take off. Like, I feel ready to really get the word out there about the evils of this world and what's going on. And mainly the distractions. They're everywhere. From the Epstein files to, and there's a big thing about that I had posted. They want you to hate the elite right now. Okay. They want you going against these people and focusing on all that, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Okay. And we'll touch on that on another episode. But what I want to touch on now is, I find it strange. Nobody talks about the Georgia Guidestones anymore. I don't hear anybody talk about them at all. And these are literally, okay, for the people that don't know what the Georgia Guidestones are, the Georgia Guidestones are literally a template, okay, of how the elite are going to depopulate. Okay, so it's literally their template to you. They put it up in big stone carvings, okay, and told you how they want the world to be in perpetual balance, how many, how they want the population to be. And it sat there for forever. People can go down to Georgia and see them. And then out of nowhere, some years back, boom, somebody, I guess, blew them up. Okay, out of nowhere, blew them up. We don't know who put them up. Okay, they just popped up out of nowhere. The guy who put them up, because how do I put this? Not the one who paid to put them up. The guy who put them up was sworn to secrecy and was paid a lot of money from what I understand from my research, not to say who did it. But we should know who did it, because whoever put those up is somebody that's working to actively, destroy society. Like, literally, like how crazy is that? The person who put that up people thought it was a joke. That was no joke. Okay. Even the way those things are aligned, that if you look through them, you could see a certain constellation all the time would pass through that certain hole that was in the Georgia Guidestones. So they were structurally built a certain way, to look a certain way, to be a certain way. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot went into building those. And then all of a sudden they just get taken out. Like those things weren't watched all the time and guarded. People couldn't even get over there at night. I know people that tried to sneak over there at night before, and they couldn't even get over there because they were heavily guarded. So I would say essentially it was a way for the elite to get rid of the evidence, but with everybody knows Hermetic retribution, they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. So they got rid of the receipts before they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Now, what I'm about to say is usually I keep it with stuff I can, base on facts. That's what makes my show different. But with this one, I'm going to make a crazy prediction. Could be completely, totally wrong. Okay. And I hope I'm wrong. When I tell you guys this, I hope I'm wrong with this one. All right. For the ones that haven't been paying attention to what's been going on, the Nipah virus has been spreading around the world, and there's people that try to downplay it. They try to say, oh, it was a few people, or this is old news, and what I'm finding out, which is troubling, I'm telling you, these people are bots that are saying this, okay? The people that are actually humans are saying, oh, I hope this isn't true, and it's stuff like that. So it's almost like you bots out there that obviously are not humans, not like you watch the show, but you bots out there think you're slick and think that I don't see you, but I'm watching you just as much as you're watching me and watching the comments on my show, okay? You might not be able to watch the show. Maybe you can. I don't even know. AI is so crazy nowadays. Maybe you're hearing every word I'm saying right now. But you think you can scan my show, spread disinformation, make everything out to be crazy, but guess what? It's not going to happen because the truth will prevail. It always does. It always prevails. But what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to preface it with this, okay? It's not fear-mongering. I'm not trying to fear-monger anybody here because, like I said, this is just to keep people with their head on a swivel. So if things do come to fruition, they all don't freak out, okay? To know that this is what I think this will be if this happens. Bill Gates did an interview, flat out said that there was another pandemic coming. If you guys remember this interview, you can go look it up. What I'll do is I'll search it down and plug it in. Go ahead and roll the interview.
Government to think through these eventual bad things. This was a failure to get ready, and the cost would have been tiny compared to, say, what we spend on being ready for war. We didn't actually do the simulation to think about, okay, what about nursing homes? What about getting factories ready? What about the testing regime? In fact, the testing could have been ramped up very quickly in a few countries that have almost avoided the epidemic entirely, like Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia. They took their experience and actually prepared, and so they moved a lot faster. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
So if you see the interview, he said there's another pandemic coming, and he says this one they'll pay attention to. Now, I'm going to give my theory on what I think, if anything does happen, will happen, because what's weird is this is what happened in 2020. You started to hear about it in February, and then by March, it was full scale. Everybody needs to be on freak out mode when we really shouldn't have been. But my hypothesis here is I think, sadly, I hope I'm wrong. And I know I'm like I told you, I'm not trying to freak anybody out here. But what if, let's just put a weird, crazy scenario out there. Because I didn't like how they were pushing those jibby jabbies so much. and you had to get them or you'd get fired. Like they had to, when they were forcing it on everybody and making it. I even told my wife, I was like, something's not right here. Why you have to get it. Like they're making sure you get it or you're going to suffer consequences. And trust me, anybody who didn't take it, none of us regret it at all. But when I look at that scenario, I even back then I thought of a what if scenario. What if somehow the technology could be the Starlinks, the satellites, whatever. What if it interacts? Because they've already proven through that one documentary they did that there are nanoparticles in that shit that they put in everybody. They're heavy metals. People were sticking magnets and they were sticking to them. So what if those particles can interact with their technology? Okay. And there really isn't a pandemic, but they just create one out of thin air and it'll look like Nipah. And what's crazy is go watch the movie Contagion. Okay. Everybody thought Contagion was based on the CVID, but it wasn't. It was what was spreading in the movie Contagion was Nipah. It was a form of Nipah. Okay. And remember, they put it in the movies. So it makes me wonder, is something coming that they're going to play off and it'll play through that? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to be careful in what I'm saying here. Will they activate something, make it, and then everybody will? So everybody like, oh my gosh, during CVID, nobody was really, some people were passing, other people weren't passing. So people were confused. But with this one, there'll be no confusion. Bodies will pile up and then people will freak out and be like, oh my gosh. And think about it. CVID would have all made sense then because everybody will know what to do already. Up, strap up, put your mask on, up, run in your house, hide. Everybody will know what to do at that point. It was like a precursor and prep to get everybody ready. So everybody's ready when something like when the big one does happen. I don't know why I always felt that in my bones, that wasn't the one, that there was a bigger one coming behind it. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. And I don't know. I don't put it past any of these weirdos like Bill Gates and all these other people that want to depopulate, okay? Because they're already seeing it's harder for them to rule. They already see what it is. There's too many people for them. And I know this has always been one of they shadow banned me in 2020. This is one of the more touchier subjects is when you start speaking on Georgia Guidestones and these types of scenarios that could potentially be coming. Oh man, you speak of Depop, true. I'm gonna have to be careful how I even, title this and hashtag it, because I'm telling you, they're trying their best to suppress this type of information because people are like, oh no, it's just like that. It's going to be a big pandemic. Nah, man. Because think about it. It's the, if they do this the way I'm talking about, it'd be the perfect thing because what they did was they tricked you. The anti-maskers will be like, oh, it's just like that, man. It's a bunch of BS, right? And then when they see everybody start dropping, that's when everybody will freak out. So honestly, I don't only put this out there so people can keep their heads on a swivel so people don't freak out. Okay. I'd rather do it now, honestly, too, because they'll ban the crap out of me. If I ever even talk about it once it does happen, if it happens, they'll ban the crap out of me because they won't want me waking you guys up to the truth of what's going on. But I just want to put it out there so that way if this situation does come to fruition, and like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but based on the way the markets are down, everything's starting to work out, everything's getting this eerie, weird 2020 vibe going on again, and I don't like it. So I hope I'm wrong. I absolutely hope I'm wrong. But I'm still going to warn people because if even 100 people, 1,000 people, however many people hear me when I say this and it happens, then they're going to be like, Elias already told us. Okay. So like me, I'm not going to freak out because I'm already going to know. I'll be like, I already knew what they were going to pull. and it wasn't going to be a V word. Okay, they weren't going to release a V word. They're never going to. Okay, the reason being is, if you know what gain of function is, what Fauci and them are working on, it's about, they were trying to figure how can a V word, okay, virus, become more passable to other people, more contagious. So that's why they hated him so much, because he was doing gain of function research. And the truth is, V words are they're too unpredictable. They'll never release something because they could do something that essentially gets out of hand that even they can't control. So that's what people need to understand. It'll never be a V that's released into the public. It'll appear like it, but it won't be. Just like how they fooled everybody with that big C vid. What happened with that? So this type of conversation is always hard to have. It is. And I'm not claiming that I have 100% proof of this. I'm just looking at what I'm looking at. That's how my mind works. That's why I started a show like this. I take pieces of a puzzle and they fit together sometimes, and sometimes they don't.